Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel and day 2 of our 18-day trek across Newfoundland. Day 2 we left Hillside Cabins about 8 o'clock and traveled 130 kilometers all the way up to Bay De Verde. Got in about 7 p.m. so it was a long day. So I've decided to break this into 2 parts because I do want to show all the video I did get, and of course I didn't get any video from the cabins all the way up until we're north of Salmon Cove at this point. Still getting used to that camera, and I know I have 3 batteries that would last about 3 hours, so and the camera's on the roof, so I decided to get most of the coverage from this part that we're showing today. So because there's not a whole lot of information on this area, I had contacted a couple of guys, and I just really wanted to give a shout out and thanks to Brandon Tilley and Justin Fry. Brandon for all the information he gave us of traveling in the area and Conception Bay North Trailway. And if it wasn't for Justin Fry's Wikiloc Trail, we never would have found our way up to Bay De Verde. So thanks guys. And so yeah, so this next part of the video, you'll see here on this map, I'm showing now the 2 white lines. So we start just south of Sprout Cove and head up to Broad Cove Brook. There's a little bridge there. So yeah, mostly trail, and we'll try to get it all in for you. As usual, the video never really shows the elevation, and you still get a sense of what it's really like. We're up pretty high here, and this is a steep downhill. We got some great views, and I'm going to speed it up to about 4 times the regular speed here. Still can see the trail and what we're on really good, so I will slow it down for a couple of spots just so I think it's a little bit better view. The part we're coming up to, not too far from here, is get some good ocean views. And, yeah, it was a really fun part of the trail. Not too tight, and the trail's in great shape. Here we're getting some great views of the ocean, and it's a pretty steep climb here too. And again, you don't really notice it, but it drops off pretty good to the right of us here too. So we're going to be climbing right up to meet up with the highway. And I guess I was wrong earlier, it's not really the Trans-Canada, it's actually Highway 70 that travels all the way up to Old Perlican and Bay De Verde. you end up, you know, hitting all these little back roads and going through these small communities. So it's always fun to see the different, you know, the different areas and the different roads. You know, we go from stuff like this to, you know, trails in a heartbeat. So here it was like, oh, well, I guess this really isn't the way. It's really, really difficult when the trails aren't marked up in this area. So like I said, if it wasn't for the Wikilot map that we were following, even doing that, it gets pretty tricky sometimes. The maps are very detailed. They have a little arrow, and so as soon as you get off the trail that Justin had on his Wikilot maps, we can see right away, but it's still pretty tricky at times. So hopefully if anyone does go up this way, and maybe this video will show you if you want to mark it out yourself and take note of some spots. But we never really got lost, but as you'll see going up, sometimes it was like, which way do we go? Yeah, and like I said, here we are again, like, oh no, wrong way, let's turn around again. Poor Mark, he's like, where are you taking me? This area especially was kind of confusing, because you get to these parts where there's like, you know, 4 or 5 different ways that you can go. So that one wasn't too bad, but there's a section coming up that was just like, you know, there's go left here, no, there's another road going left up there, do we go right here? So this part here, we're just like, where do we go? So we'd come from the left. I said, no, it looks like we gotta go straight ahead up there. Get out of the way, Mark. Follow us. And then right away you see, no, the arrow's not going this way. Alright, let's have a look. Does it go off to the left behind Mark? Who knows? Let's go past there and try the other one to the left. Yep. Alright. So as you can see, sooner or later you figure it out. And it's like, okay, I think we're heading the right way. So here we are coming up to Broad Cove Brook, a little bridge and a little rest area here. It's kind of a cool little spot. And if you just take a little listen as I cross the other side of this little bridge, not quite paying attention, I was looking to see what Mark was up to behind me, and I guess I turned a little bit too soon before coming off the bridge, and you'll hear it here. Oh yeah, good scrape against the guardrail. Took my first chunk out of my aluminum rim. Oh well, had to do that at some point. Not long after that bridge, the trail took us back out onto Highway 70, which we had to go on for a while. But, we've been told by another guy, actually, from the Wolverine forum that I'm on, Ken, said, oh, make sure you stop at the Red Ochre Cafe. It's really well known for its cheesecakes. So we had a great lunch there and amazing cheesecakes. We even stopped on the way back to pick up some more. And had a good chat with the little owner before we headed up the highway.
Right now. Oh. Wave. It's the owner of the Ochre Cafe, Red Ochre Cafe. Hello. You coming up to Bay De Verde? You gotta eat here. All right, it was an awesome meal. There we go. That'll be on a YouTube video.
Anyway, guys, you have a fantastic day.
Thanks, man.
Hopefully one of these days we'll meet again. Yeah, we'll be back.
Take care.
We're going to be coming back through, so we'll probably stop in again.
No problem.
So I skipped most of the section coming up the highway, not much to see, but what you got to look out for here is the sign for Northern Bay Sands. And just past that up here on the left, basically the next turn off is the trail. There's really not marked, be easy to miss. So yeah, this takes us back in. Now we'll be on basically on trails the whole way until, in this video anyways, in part one, will get us to a few kilometers south of Old Perlican. So we've been pretty lucky with the weather forecast. It's basically the start of a heat wave, which in Newfoundland's only about 26. Anyways, so it's fairly dry too, so I don't tend to get a whole lot of shots of Mark behind us. Most of the time he's hanging back because of the dust, so now we're starting to get into some tighter stuff. We're going to get into a lot of tight stuff here for a lot of the rest of the way. It's not like a good portion of the rest of Newfoundland, especially when you're south of here and start heading west. The trailway itself is lined mostly in alders, and I mean they've grown in, but it's really light branches, so it doesn't do anything at all. Where in this section, and when we head all the way up, most of the way to Old Perlican, there's a lot of spruce, so the branches and stuff are a lot stiffer and smack you pretty hard. So I try to stay over, to one side or the other, so we're not getting whipped. As you can see, we just get a lot of this all the way. It's a good thing I have these little sticky guards on my camera lenses, where it help with some of the beating they take. So I had to change the battery and only missed about a kilometer of the trail. So this last part of the video, in part one anyways, we go from just down there Long Beach up to just around the Lower Island Cove area. So the first half or so I'll do it 4 times the speed. It's fairly open and easy going. And once we get to the sort of the second half of this trail itself, I'll slow it down again. That's where it gets really tight and pretty gnarly and rough. I'll just slow it back down here for a bit. We're coming up just east of us is the community of Gull Island, and this is Gull Island Pond. It's a really good little bridge, but the water was not deep, and I said, why watch out for those guardrails when I can just have fun and go through the water? So we've come out onto this gravel road. It's called Pottles Road. Again, this is a little bit difficult in trying to figure out exactly where to go. Just having a quick look here to see if Mark's still with us. We could see him off in the distance. You can't see it, but we're kicking up a lot of dust here. Anyways, so we come to this intersection, and it took a minute or two to figure out which way we're going from here. So just down from that intersection there, we did find that the trail went off to the right here, so it was all good. Wasn't too hard once we figured it out. So we're gonna go regular speed for the rest of the video now, and this gets really tight in here. It's not really side-by-side territory. The spruce gets really thick, and it was beating us up pretty bad. Trail got a little rough, but I mean, it was still lots of fun. I just love this, and you certainly feel you're out in the middle of nowhere. This is now we're really starting to cut across the tip towards Old Perlican. So yeah, pretty slow going. Like I said, it gets a little rough, and the camera doesn't always show it, but some of these rocks are pretty big. Now, a lot of the times that you see us slowing right down and stopping, what you don't realize is that we have Sena communicators, so Denise and I can talk to one another, and we can also both talk to Mark. So a lot of times we stop and wait for him to catch up and make sure everything's going good. So yeah, it's pretty dry. So I can imagine this area and the ones coming up behind us in the springtime would probably be pretty wet and muddy. So I don't know what it would be like to cross in the wet season or during the spring. But yeah, really no problem here at all. Just took it slow and easy. for the most part, the camera's sitting up fairly high on the roof, so it misses, a good majority of it. But we're in the thick of it the whole time here. We're just, non-stop having all this thick brush trying to come in, so you're leaning in from the doors, trying not to get hit, and I try to keep it in the center, so we're both kind of like equal parts. I'm not driving more on the Denise side. Even though as a driver you tend to do that, so you got to remember not to beat up your passenger too bad. So yeah, it was just really slow, because you just got to let all this stuff come in and slap you around, and you think it's scratching the crap out of your machine, but it doesn't really. They hold up to this stuff pretty good. Should have done a 360 pan around here. It was just pretty crazy. Like, this is all you see for miles and miles around you. And, I certainly wouldn't want to have a breakdown out here. It would be pretty tough. That's why you definitely want to be with two, so one can tow the other out. But you do really feel like somewhere else. It's just crazy how there's just nothing for miles and miles, including wildlife. That's one of the things that we've, even just into day two, we were surprised that, wow, we haven't seen a moose. You're always expecting to see a moose jump out, but at this point, wow, there's hardly anything at all. At this point, the camera's already got knocked a bit sideways, and this piece here just cranks it right around. But now I said at this point I'll just pan back, and we'll watch Mark come through a little bit of this. He's caught up to us, and yeah, so this is coming to the end of part one. I'll have the part 2 video out shortly. It's pretty much mostly done. So I'll just say thanks for watching, and I'm just going to leave this playing, and this kind of shows the reaction of finishing this long, slow section of grown-in spruce and whatnot. All right, till the next one. We'll see you then.
Holy fuck!